Good morning and welcome to class, my wonderful students. How are you today? It is nice to have you again on this platform. I am Dakori Moloye, and today we'll be discussing clause analysis. Let's run through our learning objectives briefly. Number one, after the end of this class, we're able to define clause. Number two, to state types of clauses. Number three, be able to explain these types with copious examples. Number four, you should be able to identify clauses easily in sentences. And number five, you should be able to differentiate between a phrase and a clause. Before we go deep into the topic, let's say the correction to our last assignment. Last class, we considered phrases. And let's see what our answers are. The black Italian bag was bought by me. Black Italian. Black Italian is an adjective phrase or an adjective phrase. Sleeping without light is dangerous. The first part is a noun phrase. I left my bag. I left my ball in my school bag. That is an adverbial phrase. He studied in the school library. That is a noun phrase. Let's compare question 3 and question 4. Question 3 is an adverbial phrase because I underlined in. Where did I leave my ball? In the school bag. In is underlined, part of the answer. He studied in where? The school library. That is a noun phrase because in is not underlined. I told you I can replace a noun phrase with a noun or a pronoun. I can tell you number 4, he studied in the USA. He studied in it. But number 3, I can't replace that expression with I can't say I left the ball USA. I left the ball it. Not possible. Number 5 now. She bought the cake in the new Chinese restaurant. That is an adverbial phrase. The sentence that applies to number 3 applies to that. Number 6, football is best played in the morning. The same rule that applies to number 3 applies to that, making it an adverbial phrase. And lastly, Kemi is a new school nurse. That is a noun phrase. The same rule that applies to number 4 applies to that. Let's go to what we consider last week. Let's go through them briefly because it links us to this. A phrase I said is a group of words that can stand together as a unit and form parts of a clause. Parts of a clause or a sentence. That is, a phrase is part of a clause. Note that one as the first thing. That means a clause is a bigger version of a phrase. And like I told last week, a phrase is meaningless. And I listed the following types of phrases for you to go through and the way they work. Now let's go to what a clause is. A clause comprises of a group of words which has a finite verb and a subject. It has a subject and a finite verb. Then it must contain one subject and one verb. That's one. Then it must be meaningful. The subject can be mentioned or hidden, but note the main thing is that a phrase must be meaningful. And a phrase can contain more than one subject or a verb. That is a clause rather. That's discussing a complex clause and things that are not fit for your class. There are things higher than your class. Then let's see examples of phrases. Whoever eats the pie, the last piece of pie. When I came here, I saw him. I want to buy a new phone. Alex smiles. When I was dating Leanna. These are examples of phrases. Let's now see types of phrases. Types. We have 2 types of phrases. We have the independent, which is the one that can make meaning on its own. It's independent. It can stand on its own and make meaning. It looks like a regular sentence. In short, they are called simple sentences. These are called simple sentences because they can make meaning on their own. In a sentence, like I said here, two independent clauses can be connected by any of this, and that makes it a compound sentence. These are these are independent clauses that have meaning on their own, independent. Is a wise man, it's meaningful on its own. I like him, meaningful on its own. Can you do it? Meaningful on its own. Do it, please. Meaningful on its own. I read the whole story, it has meaning on its own also. Then let's see the other part, which is a dependent. A dependent clause cannot function on its own because it leaves the idea unfinished. The idea is unfinished. That is, it has to be joined to an independent clause to make meaning. A dependent clause depends on other parts of the sentence to make meaning. It is also called a subordinate clause. Like I said here, it helps the independent clause to complete the thought. It helps the independent clause to complete the thought. Then a dependent clause, like I said here, cannot form a complete sentence. It can't form a complete sentence, and they work in many ways. See them. See, all these are underlined. They are dependent. They are depending on this. This can make me on its own. This is independent. I cannot date. When I was dating Diana, I told you this is depending on this. I know the man. This is the independent here. This is a dependent, depending on this. He bought a car. This is independent. This is dependent, depending on the first part. I know that he can't do it. I know it's independent. But this is dependent, which is depending on this to make meaning. Doesn't know. This is independent. This is depending on this to make meaning. Then let's see types of dependent clause types. We have the adjectival, this is the first one, and what it will do is it functions like an adjective in a sentence. And what adjective will only modify or qualify a noun or a pronoun. An adjective qualifies a noun or a pronoun. The same way an adjectival clause will qualify a noun or a pronoun. All these are adjectival clauses. See, examples here. The adjectival clauses that qualify nouns or pronouns. People who are true patriots love their country. Which people who are true patriots? I recall the time when there was no mobile phone. Which time when there was no mobile phone? These are all adjectival clauses modifying nouns or pronouns. You can pause the video to write this list down. Then the other one is the adverbial, which performs the function of an adverb. An adverb will modify a verb, modify an adjective, or another adverb in a sentence. I told you an adverb. I once taught you this. I taught you this some weeks ago. I said an adverb can modify a verb, it can modify an adjective, and it can modify another adverb in a sentence. You can see these examples. These are adjectival clauses modifying the verb scrubbed. Here, this is an adjectival clause. Sorry, adjectival clause modifying the verb started. This is an adverbial clause modifying the verb add. Then, in subsequent examples, you can see them. This is the adverbial clause here. It's modifying the verb will tell. This is an adverbial clause modifying the verb was riding. This is an adverbial clause modifying the verb started. This is also an adverbial clause modifying the verb will stay. And lastly, this is an adverbial clause modifying the verb but. Then These are more examples, more examples. Well, they have types. The ones that modified place, which will answer where, modified place, answer where. Then we have modifies manner. Manner will answer how. You can see it here. He speaks as if he were a native speaker. How does he speak? As if he were, it will answer the question how. Then this is that of reason. I will answer why. Answer, you can see the illustration already. Why didn't he go to school? Because he was not feeling well. Why was he late? Because he was not allowed to attend the assembly. This answers why. It's the question why. Then that of condition to tell you what must be done. What must be done. And you see some features of it. It will have if, unless, only if, or in case. At times it uses the word provided or whether. You can see examples abound here. Then we have the adverbial clause of comparison also that compares. Mostly than must be there or as, than, as. You can see it here. These are used to compare. Is older than it looks. And looks is telling you about comparison, comparing. Then you have the one that shows supposition or concession, and it starts with these conjunctions: though, although, if, or even if. Let's try and note how they start. Then we have the noun clause, the major thing, the noun clause. This is an independent clause that performs the role of a noun. A noun names. So a noun clause we also name, and it can function as a subject, object, or complement. This is a topic on its own that we'll consider later in the class. You can see the way they work. The naming here, the noun clause can be the subject. This is subject. It can be the object, acting as the object here. It can be the subject complement. It's acting as that here. It can also be the object of the preposition coming after a preposition here. And it can also be an adjectival complement. It is working here like that. So these are the ways nouns can work, and you can see examples of noun clauses here. In conclusion, a clause must contain a subject and predicate. Like I told you, it's two forms. The first one is the main clause, which is the independent that can stand on its own. That one is the subordinate clause that must be added to the main clause to make meaning. It cannot stand on its own. So they are added to the main clause to make meaning. That's why they are called subordinate clauses. Then in this next class, these assignments are very simple assignments for you to do. Um, you just study them and determine the type of clause they are. Either it's a noun, it's a it's an adjective or an adverb. Number one, now the jury believed that the man was guilty. Let me underline the questions there for you so you don't make mistakes. Come when you like. I know the girl. Yes, these are the questions. The questions, yes. I know I know you have great respect that for him. Yes. Then that's yes. Before I die, yes. Good. I'm not dying now. That is just an example. Then for reference material, please lay your hands on these textbooks. Read these textbooks and these materials. They will teach you more and tell you more about clauses. But I will continue from where I stopped next class. Next class will do more of clauses. Till we see again, I want to say a big thank you to you for listening to me and for paying rapt attention. Study more, do my assignments, send feedbacks, and we'll continue from where we stop next class. God bless you. I love you all.